What is going on, you guys? Super stoked to be here with you guys today. Again, Apple Creator, Top 100 Business Podcaster, hopping on here to share with you guys the equipment that you need and the setup that you need to get started with your podcast. So we're testing this new thing out. We're streaming on YouTube and Facebook right now. So we'll see how that goes. But I just want to hop on here really quick. Want to keep this short, sweet, to the point. At the end, I'm going to have some giveaways for you guys, some free stuff that I put together that I think is going to bring a lot of value to y'all if you're interested in podcasting. But we're hopping on here really quick just to share with you guys the setup that you actually need to get started with your podcast. Because a lot of people, they've got this wrong. Okay, I see all these videos on YouTube, all these blog articles about all the things you need to get started with a podcast. And as somebody who has a top 100 business podcast, and as someone who has spent less than $30 on their setup, I can guarantee you that you don't need to be going out there buying all these things that everyone is telling you that you need to buy. So I just want to hop on here really quick and basically make that point and share with you guys essentially what you actually need and sort of disprove those myths out there. So to share with you guys exactly what my setup is, I have two things, okay? I have two things that make up my entire podcasting setup that has brought us to a top 100 business podcast, six-figure podcast, like all of this stuff through two things, okay? The first of which is this microphone right here. It's a Blue Yeti microphone, and normally this thing costs, I think, about $120 off Amazon, so nothing significant there. But I actually got this for free from a friend of mine at a conference. I just met up with this dude, and he's from Australia, and his cord broke, and he didn't want to bring the broken cord mic back on the plane with him. So he's like, do you want this microphone? And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Because before that, I don't really remember what I was recording on, but I had the podcast going. It had no traction behind it. I wasn't taking it seriously. So at that point, I upgraded to this guy and just had to buy the cord, which is like $5 on Amazon. And then this camera that you're watching me on right now is literally a $15, $20 maybe webcam off of Amazon as well. So again, you don't need anything fancy to start a podcast. You don't need a soundboard. You don't need a mixer. You don't need any of these like crazy things, because the reason I wanted to make this video is, one, I saw these videos promoting like the 18,000 things you have to buy to start a podcast. And I think that's just complete BS. And two, somebody messaged me and they said that they'd spent thousands of dollars creating this podcast studio. It had been 6 months and they still hadn't taken any action. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I spent $0 before I started my podcast. I started it completely for free, and you can start yours completely for free as well. You don't need to spend a ridiculous amount of money on all these things that you really, really don't need. So I just want to come on here and say that. And basically, all you need is a half decent microphone. Again, you don't even need to get like a $120 microphone. You can get by with literally, I know people who podcast with these Apple earbuds. I know people who podcast with this. Like, this is all they use. And that's totally fine when you're starting off. Like, it's all about just like getting started and like putting something out there, because you could create this multi-$1,000 podcast studio, but if you don't use it, if you don't even like podcasting, like, what's the point of that? So that's the gist of it. That's what I wanted to hop on here and say, because I think there's so many people that are doing this just backwards, and it's all about just taking action where you are. Your first podcast is always going to be your worst podcast. Okay, that's just the way it is. So when it comes to podcasting, you just need to get started. Like, that's all there is to it. It's just get started, put something out there, and really see what happens. So I hope this was valuable to you guys. As I promised, I had some giveaways here at the end. So I put together this free resource that I want to share with y'all. It's basically a training on how I was able to grow a top 100 business podcast in only about a few months. And that's at applecreator.com/podcast. It'll be the first link in the description of this video as well. So definitely head over there, check that out. I also put together a free cheat sheet that walks you through how I was able to monetize my podcast, turn it into a six-figure income stream for me through 16 different monetization strategies. That's also in the description, and that link will be applecreator.com/cheat sheet, I believe. So if you go applecreator.com/podcast or applecreator.com/cheat sheet, some free stuff that I wanted to create for y'all. Again, it took me a long time to create both of those things, but I feel like they pack a lot of value, and I'm just here to provide value. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. If we have any questions in the chat, feel free to drop those. Otherwise, I did want to keep this pretty short and sweet. So I would be totally fine to wrap this up if we are good to go. As always, drinking a LaCroix. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions really quick. Otherwise, we will call it a day on the stream, keeping it short, sweet, and to the point. Well then, guys, we're going to wrap it up. So have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, for anything podcasting related, you know where to be. Check out those links below. And I'd be happy to help you guys out in any way that I can. Have a wonderful rest of your day.